What is our theme song today?
You mean our ending song?
Surprise.
Well, I thought we had an opening song.
Well, it is called the something cha-cha. It's a Benny Goodman song. Help me here, Jakia.
T for two.
T for two cha.
Okay, then.
Get you moving a little bit.
People still joining.
Yeah.
Are we still waiting?
Yeah. What?
Well, when we play our exit song, we're all going to watch Jackie really cry. It's
Here
a
we go.
sentimental song.
Which one?
I'm not telling.
The ending song?
Yeah, the ending song.
Here we go. Here we
Oh,
go.
not today, please.
Well, you'll cry anyway.
Yeah, I know.
Good afternoon, Winmore Rights. Did that come through? Little feedback? Okay.
You're live.
Thank you. Later in the show, we're going to have Karen Brooks, the city manager, and Jeff Gary, the fire chief. And they're going to be talking about the new firehouse that we have in Coconut Creek. But first, we're going to start today with celebrating Winmore and our partners. As you know, we had a terrific week with the COVID vaccination. And in Winmore style, we made it happen. This is not our first big event. As many of you know, you've been around. We took care of two major hurricanes, Wilma and Irma, better than any other community. Some of them are still working on it. All the Relay for Life functions we've had for charity, where we got everybody together. The first two COVID testing sites, putting that in the parking lots and doing the traffic and the tents and setting everybody up. And this all started, this vaccination, with 2 weeks ago. Jackie, you may remember, you were in my office here at 1:30. We were expecting a phone call, and we're here with Lois and Keith. And we got a phone call from the Tallahassee And it was us and other communities such as Kings Point and Century Village and Palm Beach and the ones that they picked out. And after the conversation, they didn't give us really any information how to set up. They just said they're going to be here at 8 o'clock and really you're on your own. But Jackie gave me that look where we're good. We're ready for this. We're good. So right after that 1:30 meeting, which probably wasn't that long, it might have been 20 minutes. So at 2 o'clock before the 3 o'clock afternoon tea, we all went down to the Grand Ballroom just to check it out. And we're already putting it together for the next week. And don't forget, this is the day right before New Year's Eve. And along with that, Jackie called the meeting of the officers of Winmore, known as the Management Committee, on that Thursday morning. And I had my department heads there. And the key thing was the cockiness of Fred Michael. Fred, I see you there. He says, I'll handle it. Don't worry. I'll take care of the database. I know everybody. We'll send everybody an email and then it was expressed that we should put up phone numbers for the people that don't have internet, okay, which everybody used. And it worked out really well. We found out that maybe 2 out of every 5 calls was a repeat of people calling in because it's human nature. If you're not hearing back, you're calling in because you want to make sure you get this shot. So we were very good with those people. Everybody got in listening to the calls here. And it was Fred and his, he had a staff of people we called the phonettes that were calling everybody back. And all the officers were calling people too the same day. Marvin Keith, Ronnie Sidney, Selma Bass, Fred Stein, along with Jackie. And they were working really hard. And Fred deserves a lot of credit, right? Everybody knows that. That goes without saying. And I get all these emails, you know, we got to do something for Fred. We should have a dinner for him. Well, we did better for a dinner. I rewarded him in another way. You happy, Fred? Yeah, he's happy. Okay, he deserved it. He worked that whole New Year's Eve weekend putting this together, one resident at a time. And he'd call me all the time and he says, oh, I'm going to take a few minutes to watch a little football. And then he'd come back and forth. So, Fred, you did a wonderful job. And the people that made all the phone calls. And again, the management committee were very important in this, putting it together and helping out with the phone calls. Also, our facilities department, if you went down there, you keyed off the floor. That place was so clean. And at the registration, every clipboard as it was used was cleaned and ready. And any pens were put in the used pen, and we got new pens, and everybody's using clean pens. So that was really good. Our security department, Karen, you'd be proud. You think they were the Coconut Creek Police, the way they were, had everything under control there. And one of the security guards came up with the idea of the way the traffic should flow. And after our first 2 sessions, which were late because the vaccine came late, went very smooth. I know I'm saying very smooth, and Jackie's like shaking because she went through a lot with Mark Bogen on this. And also the recreation department. Jakia and her staff took care of the front gate to make sure that everybody had their forms filled out and they knew which way to go. And it was a very interesting week. But this is what we do here. We're known for doing these big things at short notice. Again, that meeting was Wednesday 2 weeks ago. Thursday was a half a day because it was New Year's Eve. We worked through the weekend setting up. They came here Monday to inspect. And then Tuesday, they came in and they got ready to rock and roll, and everything worked out well. Jackie, are you available? Or I see you're blanked out there. Okay, is Commissioner Bogen here?
Yes.
Okay, this would not have been done if it wasn't for Mark Bogen and his connections and his love for Winmore. So let's give Mark a Winmore wave and a cheer and have Mark come on. Where's Mark?
I'm here, Brucey.
Let's see you. Oh, there he is. Ah! Okay, it's all yours, Mark.
Hey, you know, before I start, I got to tell you, 8 days of grueling work, and I got to do a great shout out for some people. And I don't mean to be redundant, but Jackie, first of all, you're awesome, and your whole management team is incredible. And Bruce, you too. And Fred Michael, as you just mentioned, and Fred Stein, who was there helping out, Kia, Lynn, and Destiny, unbelievable work and help, O'Neill and his staff. I mean, just like everybody, I'm sure I'm forgetting people, but what a team effort. And just everybody said how smooth it went and how it was smooth. So what I want to do is just make sure everybody remembers a couple quick things. First of all, you all know you have a card, and that card says to come back at a certain day for your shot, and that shot you should get. There's a date on your card. You need that card and come back at the same time that you came originally. That's number one. Number two, the full effect of the vaccine doesn't take effect till after the second shot. 30 days after the second shot is when you get your full effect of it. So it's not right away. And all our experts that are talking to us at the county saying, continue wearing your mask. You could still get the virus, by the way. Even 3 months later, you could still get the virus, but they say it just be like, you don't feel well. You're not going to go to the hospital. You probably won't be, you're not going to be deathly sick. But so they say still, take your precautions. And just a great job for everybody. And I don't know what else I could say. I hope that, hope that second shot's there. It's like they're talking about releasing the stuff in inventory right now that's saved for the second shot, so everybody could have one shot. But I hope that's just talk right now. But anyway, again, I'm flabbergasted about how everybody was and how great everybody did. And thank you all. And I'm pretty wiped out right now. And so thank you, and be well. And we'll see you in 3 weeks.
Thank you.
Hi, Mark. I'm sorry. I have to apologize to everyone. I did have to leave the meeting for a minute, but I'm back. And may I say, and I'm sorry, I don't know what I missed, but I do have to say, Mark, thank you. Thank you for making this happen. We worked hard all week. It was an experience, and it may take us a month to recover, but it was so worth it. And thank you again. And I apologize again for having to leave.
By the way, we have many communities in Coconut Creek right now that are very angry. Like, why then? I got the lady who runs township is saying, how come we don't have a pod there? And I said, look, it's the governor's office that's saying, oh, they're looking right now just at senior communities 65 and over, but there are hundreds and hundreds of communities that are very upset that, they did not have what we experienced here at Winmore.
Yeah.
But Jackie, what I was saying when you were gone, you guys did such a great job. Jackie,
Thanks.
you
Yeah.
and your team, great. Anyway.
Thank you.
Karen, did you want to comment on Mark's comments? Karen Brooks? I saw you nodding when Mark made the comments about the city.
And it is true. We have been getting lots of calls from various other parts of the city wanting to know how Winmore was able to get the pod that they got and wanting to do the same. So we're so happy that Winmore was able to get this going and provide it at least for a big portion of our residents in the city. And we here at City Hall are continuing to work to try to expand that to other parts of our city. But you definitely have some jealous neighbors throughout the rest of the city. But great kudos to Commissioner Bogen. Thank you so much for all of your efforts and for allowing us to even squeeze in some of those doses would not get ruined and that no dose would go wasted. So we appreciate that and looking forward to continuing the work with the vaccines throughout the rest of the city.
Yeah, it's upsetting it's upsetting if I could just say the governor did not want first responders to get any vaccines. The governor, they're put behind everybody. So I'm glad some of the first responders got vaccinated.
Yes, as well as some of our employees who are 65 and older, and that helps us to be able to continue to help provide services to our residents. So every bit helps, and we're very appreciative of it.
Karen, while we have you and Jeff Gary on, why don't we lead with you and we'll get back to our celebration. So why don't you take over the mic right now?
All right, I will. Thank
Well,
you.
let's introduce you. Let's give you a proper introduction. All right, this is Karen Brooks. She's the city manager for Coconut Creek. Everybody knows. And Jeff Gary, who's been a guest, I think 3 weeks in a row, Jeff?
Yep, something like
Yeah,
that.
something like that.
And I'm the fire marshal.
Right, he's the fire marshal, excuse me. Okay, so it's all yours.
Okay, all right. Well, thank you, everyone. Again, as stated, I am Karen Brooks, and I'm the city manager of Coconut Creek, and it is my pleasure to be here today. And joining me is Jeff Gary, our fire marshal, who you well know, and we're here to talk about the fire department. So with that, we're gonna I'm gonna go over a little bit of the history of the fire department, and Jeff will speak about what's happening operationally, and then we'll just conclude with our vision of what we're expecting to see into the future.
Are you able to see my screen, the PowerPoint?
Is everyone able to see the
We
screen?
see your screen, yes.
Okay, all right, great. So starting back, the city of Coconut Creek was incorporated in 1967. And in 1972, Coconut Creek created its first volunteer fire department when we had a population of about 1,300 people. So we started long ago with fire. And then about 10 years later, in 1982, with a population of about 6,200, we actually created our first formal public safety department. And that public safety department consisted of officers who were dual certified as firefighters and as police officers. And that's how public safety was being serviced throughout Coconut Creek during that time. And then, let's see, in 2000, after we've grown to a population of over 43,000, so we were growing a lot during those times, the public safety officer concept was getting to a point where there was so much training required for both police officers and firefighters that those officers that had those dual roles were not able to keep up with all of the training and continue to have time to work. So it was really at that time in 2000 that we had to separate police and fire services. And at that time, we kept the police department and we contracted out with the city of Margate for fire. And so that started our 20-year relationship with Margate. And it's been a great relationship through the years. And then over a year or so ago, actually it was about a couple of years ago now, there was discussion about creating a regional fire system that would consist of Coconut Creek, Margate, Coral Springs, and Parkland. And there were those amongst us in those cities that felt that that would be the most efficient way to provide these services. And we were working towards in that direction and seeing if it was feasible and if all of the cities could come together and make that happen. Subsequently, talks fell apart when there was some miscommunication with Margate regarding how the retirement system would work. And so that whole concept ended up not becoming viable for the four cities. And during that same time, we were also, Broward County had began a regional dispatch system, of which we have one of the regional centers here in our city at City Hall here, Regional Dispatch Center. And after we had them for a while, we were realizing that we were not getting the same level of service from dispatch. We were getting calls that were coming in that were being mishandled, and it just was not the level of service that our residents have come to expect throughout all of the years. And at the time, the commission had made the decision that we would like to explore alternatives to improve our dispatch services. And Coral Springs was not part of the county regional system, and they run a top tier dispatch services system. So we were directed by the commission to go to Coral Springs for dispatch. One of the caveats of improving our dispatch services was that in order for Coconut Creek to convert dispatch services for police and fire over to Coral Springs, the city of Margate would have had to have taken their police and fire dispatch over to Coral Springs as well. And the two cities did have meetings agreeing to that. And ultimately, Margate pulled out from that decision and chose not to go with Coral Springs for dispatch, which then caused us to have to reconsider what we were going to do about our fire department, because the only way we were able to go to Coral Springs Dispatch was to create our own. And so there was much discussion about that, and the decision was made to go ahead and do so. And so that is what we've been working on for the last several months. We have an approved agreement with the city of Coral Springs for police and fire dispatch services. That implementation date is going to be October 1st, 2022. It was actually a 2-year implementation for dispatch services. Then our contract with the city of Margate actually expires this September 30th. And so we are going, at the expiration of that contract, we will be crossing over into our own fire department on October 1st. So that had about a 1-year implementation process, which is what we're in the midst of doing right now. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Jeff, and he can give you a little bit more details of the things that we have been working on since then. Take it over, Jeff.
Thank you, Karen. So I want to talk a little bit about what the goals of Coconut Creek Fire Rescue are going to be, how the makeup is and everything, so you can kind of understand the service level to you. The first thing, like Coconut Creek's other departments, Coconut Creek Fire Rescue will provide the highest level of service to our residents, visitors, and businesses. Rest assured of that. You're having both of our promises right now that will occur. We'll be customer service oriented and committed to meeting the needs of our community. We will hire and train fire rescue employees committed to providing exemplary customer service, and we will utilize performance-based decision-making and data analysis tools in our everyday operations. For example, we're going to implement department-wide performance procedures, standards, and then perform an operational evaluation every 6 months for the first 2 years, just to make sure that what we're starting up meets all of our needs and adapts to any change that's needed. This type of robust data analysis will be included in everyday operation to ensure that we are responsive to the community needs and meeting our goals. We're going to continue to respond from Station 50, which is right outside the gate there on Coconut Creek Parkway, Station 94, which is up here, up by the rec center, Lyons and just south of Hillsborough. And we're also adding a temporary fire station, which is on Wiles Road, right behind the Home Depot. There's city property right there. So that'll be our third station that we're going to have in the city. Currently, we only have 2 fire stations in the city this time. Our goal is to provide a daily staffing of 19 firefighter paramedics, which include the battalion chief from these 3 stations. We are committed to maintaining our ISO Class 1 rating, and we are going to have closest unit response and automatic and mutual aid agreements with the surrounding cities. We hope to have one with Margate, so in case one of our units is farther away, they'll be able to respond, or Pompano, or some other jurisdictions out there, Coral Springs. We're working through that now, but that is our goal. We also want to be accredited through Center of Public Safety Excellence, CPSE, and Commission on Accreditation Ambulance Services. Both of these are going to take a investment from the very start, setting up the rules and regs and everything to meet these accreditation standards. Just like our police are accredited, state accredited, and nationally accredited, we're going to be as well. All right. So as Karen spoke, we're initially going to be dispatched by Broward Regional Dispatch Center starting October 1st of this year through probably a year. So by October 1st of next year, we're going to go on the Coral Springs system for dispatching our police and fire. A big thing that you should notice right away is currently our GIS is working to tag each of your buildings with a locator with the address, and with each condo address as well, location in the building, so that when we get dispatched to a fire, once we're on the Coral Springs system, or police get dispatched to a police incident, we know which stairwell your condo is closest to, so we can get there quickly. That's one of the things with the Coral Springs system. Also, they use the same technology that Uber uses to identify where a cell call originates from. So when you call, if you're out walking around and have to call 911 from your cell phone, it'll pinpoint pretty close to exactly where you're at. So you won't have to be explaining to dispatch where you're at. So our temporary fire station in 113, which is next to the Home Depot, we have already purchased, and it's going to be delivered coming up in September, is a Quint, which is a ladder truck like the one pictured here. Also, another rescue truck, which this is the brand new one that's up here at 94. It looks just like the one at 50, right down by you. All right, so for now, I'm going to turn it back to City Manager Brooks to conclude, and then we can do some question and answers if you have anything.
So hopefully that gave you a little bit of a background on what we've been working on. There's really internally a lot of things that we have to ensure that is in place that we've had to create for our fire department. So it's been a little slow to be getting information out to the public that would be of interest to the public. But as we move on, more and more will be coming out. So, I encourage you to check our website if you're interested, and or please reach out to me or to anyone on my staff, and we'll be happy to keep you informed of any questions or concerns you may have. We're very excited to be establishing our own fire rescue department. We have a first-class police department, and we expect our fire department to be nothing less than that. I envision a department that provides outstanding service, is customer-focused, compassionate, and accountable. And by doing this, it will allow us to be more responsive to our community needs and desires. Via contract right now with Margate, and those Margate firefighters are phenomenal, but it's still done via contract, and we don't have total control over how that department is run, and it doesn't give us as much flexibility to address issues that come up within our city that may be specific to our city. So really, by having our own department, we expect to see improved level of service just by being more responsive. It will also allow us to collect and analyze data for better decision making. Part of our implementation is to have the adequate software to provide the data, so where we can see trends and issues, and then we can put resources to them to resolve. And by having our own department as well, we're able to control costs. That's one of the things, me personally and professionally, as the former finance director here in the city of Coconut Creek for the last 23 years. I've been the city manager for a year, but I was the finance director for the last over 20 years, managing the city's finances through recessions, through good times, through growth of the city, and all of that. So I fully expect to continue our fiscal responsibilities and prudence through all of this. We're not expecting to see any tax increase or fire assessment increases beyond what we would have expected had we stayed with Margate. Costs are going up no matter what, and we do everything during our budget process and our operations to manage those costs and contain costs, and to use technology to avoid increasing costs. So, there's something that is definitely a priority in our city. It should be for every city, but one that is very near and dear to my heart, since I do have that finance background and have been handling it for the city for all of these years. So that is in conclusion of what we have coming on the table for fire rescue. I do want to mention we had started last year with a visioning and strategic planning process to involve all of the community. We did have a vision, a 2020 vision now, and that's we're past 2020 now. So we want to hear from the community where we want to be headed in the next 10 years. So I urge you to keep your eyes and ears open, because we'll be asking for input through surveys and through participation in some advisory boards. If you're interested, please reach out to me if you would like to participate specifically. And that will help us figure out where the city needs to go or wants to go over the next 10 years. So with that, thank you so much. If you have any questions, Jeff and I are here to answer them.
We do have a question from Judy Palma.
Okay.
Yes, our elevator in 1501 is going to be out of service for 3 to 4 weeks minimum. There's a sign saying to call the fire department. If we need assistance, I'm on the 3rd floor and I use a walker. Is there going to be a specific time period each day that they might want to come out to help us, or will they respond to each individual call?
Each individual call, we're 24/7. Call us when you need us.
Is there a special team that comes for something like that, as opposed to the fire department coming thinking there's a fire?
No, it is the fire department who come. And that's one of the things that we'll be able to look at, how many of these type calls we have, and we may be able to develop some other type of delivery system, just like you're saying. Instead of having a fire engine come and do it, we may have a team of other people do it. This is the kind of stuff that this is going to allow us to do. Having our own Coconut Creek Fire Department is going to allow us to do. But
Would you consider setting up a schedule of sorts? In other words, an hour in the morning, an hour in the later part of the day, that people could go out and do their shopping and all come back at approximately the same time, so they could help numerous people at once?
That's an idea. Let me look into that, and along with collecting the data, peak times that those happen, and we could put that's some of the things that we're going to be able to look at. And definitely, thank you.
Thank you.
Is this a great city or what? Where do you get service like this? Thank you, Jeffrey and Karen. Any more questions for Jeffrey and Karen?
We do have who is either Jerry or Gary Stoloff.
Thank you, John. And good afternoon, everyone. Hello, Jeff. Good to see you again.
Hi, Jerry.
Even though you can't see Marilyn or I at the moment. And Bruce, welcome back. Glad to see you, but hope you're getting enough on that. With the switch over to dispatch and the tagging of buildings, this is something that's very important, because we've had numerous times that we personally have tried to report calls to Broward dispatch, such as, well, we're at the Calvary Presbyterian Church on Coconut Creek Parkway. What's the number?
Yep. And we've heard numerous, that was all part of our decision to go to Coral Spring. We heard numerous issues such as that. And one of the things that we're also building is, you brought up Calvary Presbyterian Church. We're able to, on the Coral Spring system, to build a spreadsheet of common names, such as Calvary Presbyterian. All they have to do is type that in, and it pops up the location in Coconut Creek. And they'll say, hey, are you on Coconut Creek Parkway and 39th Ave? I know where you're at. They're on the way. Yes.
That's exactly what we're glad to hear, because we've heard unnecessary delays in dispatch as a result. Last question with regard to the elevator service and the stair climbing coming up. I'll speak to you privately about the other thing we discussed with Ryan, but can you promote the non-emergency number for those types of calls rather than 911, or should it be still logged through 911?
If you think there's an emergency, call 911. If not, I will email Kia the non-emergency line so she can distribute for you. Is that all right?
It's fine
can
with
do that.
me, it's fine with Kia.
We
Okay,
can-
thank you, and I yield.
All right. Jakia, that'll go through Fred's email. That's a particular building. He's got the database for that.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, anything else for our wonderful city representatives?
I'm seeing no more hands raised.
All right. Don't leave though, Karen, because we got one of your other employees here that's a very important part, someone that we love dearly. Jakia, do the introduction.
Yes, Officer Michael Zombek from the Coconut Creek Police Department. Good afternoon. How are you today?
I am very well, thank you. I'm glad I heard about Mr. Bandler's little dancing accident, so we're glad he's back.
You get $50 for the word dance because that's in the song that we're going to play at the end.
Listen,
There's no relation to this accident, though. Go ahead.
Listen, I'm not just another pretty face, you know.
We know that.
But again, I personally want to say how amazing the COVID vaccinations went yesterday. I was fortunate to be a part of that. And I can tell you from an efficiency standpoint, the staff was fantastic. The check-in was amazing. Keeping the people calm, getting them in and out, and just kudos to you all for putting on a fantastic event there. It truly was amazing to see how well it ran. And again, I'm very grateful to be able to participate, no ill effects, and we look forward to the second vaccination. In terms of crime for Winmore over the last week, it was a good week. Nothing much to report. We did have a decal that was disappeared off someone's car and reappeared, but we're not quite sure what happened with that. But again, anytime there's an incident where something is damaged to your vehicle or missing, please call us. We want to investigate the situation to see what happened. So,
Michael?
Yes, sir.
That case we had about a year ago where a woman called and said somebody came in her apartment and stole some jewelry. And then she said they came back the next night and returned it.
Yeah, that does happen. It does happen over at Winmore occasionally. And we always want follow-up if people do find the items that they've misplaced or believe were stolen, to call us so we can fix that in our system to make sure we don't have any open cases. I patrolled Winmore for a very long time, so while I was a road officer, I'm intimately familiar with a lot of different situations that occur within the community. We were very grateful it was a quiet week. One thing we do want to send out a reminder is about something called the zero trust, when our residents are getting calls from people they did not expect. Someone from Amazon, someone from FP&L, someone from the Social Security Administration. Zero trust in that if they're looking for money from you or you're going to be arrested, hang up on them. It is a scam and they're just trying to defraud you of money. So again, we've been doing a very good job about getting the word out, but we want to keep that up as we do have people that are victimized within Winmore. So we want to make sure that we keep that down to a minimum. Just a reminder to touch on what Jeff had talked about in terms of dispatching. This system is address driven from the police side. So it needs to have a specific address. If someone is responding to somewhere, we just can't say Cavalry Church or Winmore Village. The dispatch system currently needs a direct address. So that will hopefully change a little bit when we make the transition over to Coral Springs. But again, it's very specific. So we ask the residents to be as specific as they can about what address they need help at so we can get there as quickly and efficiently as possible. Other than that, things are going well, and I don't have much else after that.
Okay, any questions for Michael?
Judy Palma has her hand up.
Is there a specific number to report these scam phone call numbers to?
Yes, ma'am. You can contact, you can certainly call the police department if you've been victimized. Unfortunately, if people have been victimized, they can call us and we will make note of the number. However, the Federal Trade Commission does keep track of these scam calls and different scams. So if you want to alert them to that number that you received it from, they do keep a database and they do go out and investigate to the extent they can.
So what would that be, ftc.com?
Yes, ma'am. You can report it to ftc.com.
Thank you.
And thank you. I would like to thank you, Michael, and Jeff for keeping us safe and secure, not just through the last week through the vaccine, but for always and for everything you guys do. We really appreciate it. I always say that Coconut Creek is an amazing little city, and I'm proud to live here. Thank you. Yeah,
Not that little anymore.
It's not little, not so little, but when we first came down in '98, it was very different than it is now. And you guys have really built up the city without any, I always say, without any growing pains. And it's a beautiful little city, and thank you. Thank you, Karen. Okay.
We do also have a raised hand from Rob.
You're muted, Mr. Rob.
Government addresses like FTC are .gov, not .com. And I only say that because sometimes if you do the .com, you'll more likely than not get a porn site.
Okay, thank
Thank you.
So we don't get anybody in trouble.
Okay. JB, are you around? If everybody can see, those that are zoomed in, the picture behind Ed Robinson. Ed, wave to us. The Red Bridge, that's the famous Red Bridge. There he is. JB, are you with us? You want to give us a little detail that we're actually working on that bridge right now?
You're fine. We could see the bridge even while you're sitting there.
This has been a big contention for us lately where the bridge needed a lot of work and it's finally getting it. So Ed, before you can turn around, the bridge will be back to 100%.
I've been unmuted, so yes.
JB, did you see Ed's bridge?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did.
Tell us about the bridge and the history.
The history of the bridge?
Yeah, with Seichfeld, yeah.
You got me on that.
All right. That was built by a Winmore resident, Seichfeld, back in the day. And it leads to the island, the Fantasy Island, right, JB?
Yeah, Fantasy Island, right.
Right, and you need that bridge to get over there to take care of your...
Right, it's being renovated right now. So it'll be back in glowing red, probably a week and a half or so.
Good.
They're reinforcing it all and it'll be nice. Then we'll go to work on the island again.
Okay, good. Jakia, we want to take any general comments from our good friends at the team?
Does anyone have anything they would like to share with us while we're on?
Quiet, shy. They're shy. I think we're going to get off early today.
I think so.
So I think, it's been very difficult times all around. Just life in general between the COVID and all the news and everything. And sometimes we lose focus of what's important. So let's leave with a song by Leanne Womack called I Hope You Dance. You take care of that?
Yes.
And we'll say goodbye to everybody with the Winmore Wave. Everybody have a wonderful week. Stay safe.
Sorry. There we go.
Whoa. That song's fire. That was for the fire department, but we changed it at the last. Henry, it's the second time you've done this. It's a good thing we have a lot of time here. Henry's not good with music. Jakia, take over the music thing.
No.
All right, Henry.
You got it, Henry.
Henry, you got it now?
I'm trying.
Good thing it's not the Hanukkah song.
That is a good tune, but it was meant for the fire marshal.
Yeah.
What was it called?
That was fired by the Ohio Players. We're looking for I Hope You Can Dance by Leanne Womack.
Womack. It was the very last one.
I could always sing it, but nobody will ever tune in again.
Leanne Womack.
Womack, not Womback. How old are you? Come on, this was from the 80s. What's with you, you young people?
He wasn't born
JB,
then.
help me here. No, that's not it.
Whoa.
That is it.
Yeah, it is it. Go.
was
I'm
it.
sorry. You got me off fishing. Go ahead.
Here we go.
Let's see the video, though.
There we go. Take two.
Thanks, you.
Okay. Take two. Next week. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Bye-bye.